a dramatic person. This is life. I've learned to be very patient with all of this.
Yeah, I
And
was trying to get on with my iPad first, and then but yeah.
yeah, it's always a problem with either the iPad or my computer. So I just always use my phone.
Oh, okay.
It always seems to work. So um, that is a good little tip there for you. Just use your phone when you find that you're having trouble. So how are you?
I'm pretty good. We had a long week, and we're getting ready to go to Matt, so that's been a little busy getting stuff done. But you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. This is just a little something I threw on to make the truckers get excited. The ones that you show it to on the road that might be on the DL or sneaking out of those what do you call those things in the back of trucks y'all have there?
The sleepers.
Yeah, the sleepers, sneaking in and out of the sleepers.
It can happen.
Now, okay, so today, before we start, because this is Zoom, so we can cut and edit it.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk openly and candidly. Hopefully, in the last episode, I was sort of not episodes in the last season. I was tipping around the questions because I was nervous about what to really ask people. And then my agent, she made it very clear that we need the truth, or as close to the truth as we can get, from your personal experiences and what you really want to share with your audience and our audience.
Okay.
Now, so I'm going to ask you a variety of different questions, things that I think will be relevant to the show, and things I think that I've learned from in the past, because my brother was a truck driver for Cisco for like 30 years.
Okay.
And now he lives in Detroit up there. He owns a nightclub up there, and he's doing his thing. And I'm here in Toronto doing my thing. Now, so we're going to start off with just a little bit of an introduction about you, about what you do, and then we're going to get right into it. And then we're going to have about 30 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Or under, 30 minutes or under.
That sounds good.
Okay, all right. So we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Pronoun TV and the Stephanie Stevens Show. Today on the show, we have truckers, gay truckers on the road again. And today I invited the founder of the LGBTQ plus Truck Drivers Network. He also has a visibility project and a big gay trucker podcast. And that's something I'm excited to listen to. Now, today I invited Mr. Bobby Coffee Loy.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And now, did I say the correct thing for your truckers network? Did I say that properly?
Well, the network is LGBTQ plus Truck Driver Network.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was founded a little over 2.5 years ago. And it's an organization that I founded basically off of my experience being on the road driving with my husband. We've been on the road for a little over 6.5 years. And I just seen the need within the LGBTQ community, because there was really not many outlets or any source there for people to connect with each other and to provide a support group with each other. So what started basically just as a Facebook group has grown into an organization and a nonprofit program. So we have done a lot of really interesting things that I'm super proud about. And I know you had mentioned the Visibility Project. And the reason I did the Visibility Project was basically when we went to Pride events, you go to Pride events, you go to all these different events, and they showcase a lot of different flags, but they don't showcase, I've never really seen all of them. And a lot of people, the vast majority of people within our community don't even know what most of the flags means. So I literally collected, I think there's 48 flags currently, and I have a 53-foot trailer, and I display them all on the side of it. And it's a really great educational tool within our community for people to see all the flags that supports them for who they are. And so we've had a lot of fun with that. And then I also do the podcast, which is a lot of fun. And I talk openly and freely about all the subjects, whether it's something that someone really wants to talk about or not. We hit all the topics, and we just kind of like, rip off the wound and just open it up, and we talk about everything, because I want it to be able to be freely talking and us just being ourselves, and a sense of community. So, and sometimes you have to talk about things that are a little uncomfortable, but it needs to be talked about. So that's kind of what I do with the podcast. And then we also do a driver memorial program, because a lot of people don't realize that a little over 3,200 drivers a year pass away while on the road. So we also honor drivers who pass away, and we send a customized t-shirt, a small car charm, and a couple other things, a condolence letter out to the families. That way that it gives a sense of closure and a recognition from the trucking community. So,
well, you're doing good things. That sounds amazing. You're doing really good things. And I like the fact that you're doing it with clarity, because I'm listening to you and there's a real focus behind it. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I just seen a gap. And I seen a gap, when a truck passes you on the highway, a lot of people don't think about an LGBTQ driver being behind the wheel. They don't think about someone, even for me, I had this vision in my head of what a truck driver was, and it was not me. It wasn't a gay man. It wasn't someone who was a drag queen. It's not someone who is transgender. And I was so shocked to learn that there is a lot of transgender who are transitioning in their trucks, recovering from surgeries in their trucks. I could not imagine that. I couldn't even fathom that idea.
I couldn't imagine that either.
It's an amazing way to pay for surgeries and have good insurance. So I do get it. It just, before I came into trucking, I would have never thought that. So we talk about a lot of things like that, just because to get it out there, a lot of people don't realize that.
I liked something else that you said when you talked about the flags being displayed on the truck, and a lot of the community don't understand what the meaning of these flags are. And this is a good subject. Maybe I should look into that. Maybe we should look into that. And we should look into that and see if we can figure out. I'll do a show on that one night on my How Smart Are You? So see if people really understand what the flags mean and what the colors mean and stuff. That's a great idea. And I like the fact of the memorial one for the Truckers Association, because that's a great idea as well, about the trans women or the ones that do drag and stuff, or the silent cross dressers living in their trucks, trying to, these are kind of like secret lives that from the truckers, from your point of view, you have a great storylines there. You have a lot of stories that you could tell about truckers on the road. When you first said that you had a husband, I was about to say, well, when you say it's hard for them to communicate, I was going to say grinder on the road.
You wouldn't believe someone that we still get hit on all the time. It doesn't matter, husband or not, we still get hit on. And a lot of the big problems with being on the road is the bathrooms. Bathrooms are an issue. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, trans, it doesn't really matter. But there is some problems with the bathroom situations on the road. And of course, that's a big problem in America right now, is bathrooms. Everybody is up in an uproar about that and who should use them and when and where. But there's a lot of looks and different things. And but there's also a lot of people that do hit on each other in the bathrooms, and it happens. And people think that it doesn't, but it does. And
I can imagine a truck stop would be a lonely place. I mean, a trucker's life would be lonely. I mean, you're lucky because you have a lover or a husband, and you guys are on the road together. So that makes it, like a family, a type, a relationship thing there, type knit thing there, that you wouldn't really need to worry about either cruising in the washrooms or cruising the truck stops. And we know that that's happened for years. I mean, we've seen many movies from Cruising on down to, a lot of these different movies that we've seen.
And it still happens.
Well, and it's just men will be men when they're away from their families and their lives. They have to find some way to entertain themselves. And of course, we're human beings. So of course we want affection and love. And these kind of things happen. And sometimes, men are always looking for an opportunity. Always looking for an opportunity. Now, let's talk about the network for a minute. Okay. You said that you saw a need for this that wasn't met. Now, I first want to talk about this first. Let's talk about the impact of young kids. Even myself, when I was growing up, when my parents used to drive by the truckers, they used to pull the horn, the thing there. And now, do they still do that?
Yeah, they still do it, and it's the best feeling ever. It's amazing. All these little kids now. There's some funny stories about it though. Because I've scared the heck out of somebody before because the mom wasn't paying attention, but the kids in the backseat doing the little horn, and blew the horn. But it's amazing. And we've seen a lot of people stand on the overpasses, the bridges and stuff, and they'll do that. And then there's also been times where picketers or people have been protesting and things, and we've honked in support and things like that. So it still happens out here. It does, and it just brings a smile to all drivers' faces. We enjoy it. It makes me feel like a kid again, and it's very nostalgic.
There's something else I will never forget, because I went with my brother a couple of times in his truck to deliver this meat and this food to warehouses or something. And he used to always be on the CB radio. Do you still have CB radios?
We do. It's not used as much as it used to be. Most people today, I use it all the time. However, I turn it up more whenever I am in inclement weather, or if there's an accident ahead and traffic's backed up and I got to see what's going on. Besides that, the camaraderie between drivers is not exactly there like it used to be. And so that's part of that lack that, but I feel a lot of that in society as well too. I don't feel that there is a camaraderie between LGBTQ as much as it used to be, and people building things. So, but I see it a lot in trucking, that I don't feel that we're not as close connected. And on the CB is one of those places you see it a lot, because a lot of people just want to complain and cuss each other out pretty much. And
okay, all right, I'll skip it. I'll skip the breaker 19. This is so I'll skip that part, because that's what I remember the most, because I used to do it all the time with my brother and my parents. And okay, so let's go back to the network. Okay. Now, once you set the network up, is there a support system for you?
With the network, it is a support system that we've built basically amongst each other. So a lot of people within the page, as you spoke a little bit ago about being alone in the truck stop, and that's a lot of the part of why the network exists. So we have a lot of people that we lose to suicide, and suicide happens a lot within the trucks, and they'll find drivers, which is a horrible situation for everyone involved. But so we try to bridge that gap. We try to make sure everybody know that whether you're out, whether you're not out, whether you're closeted, whether it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, even if you're straight and just need a friend to talk to, it does not matter. Even though we are an LGBTQ group, we are for everyone. Even when it comes to the driver memorial program, we honor all drivers that are lost on the road. We don't just honor LGBTQ. So it's about a sense of community for everyone. And we have a lot of amazing allies to our community that are even on our page and support, and our admins and moderators. And you can always reach out to them and talk to someone. If you're lonely, we're always there to chat with. There's always somebody that's available. And so, when I said that we had this gap and was bridging a gap, the thing is, I feel that the LGBTQ community and the bar scene and a lot of the people that's in the nightclubs and all that stuff, that's an amazing opportunity. But here is drivers that maybe have the weekend off, sitting in a truck in Amarillo, as you say, and they won't take the time to take an Uber and just run over. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is bridge that gap for letting them to understand, I'm a trucker. Would I be accepted at a bar? Or I'm a gay guy. Would I even see myself associating with a trucker? So a lot of people don't think of it as an option. So for me, I'm trying to blend those two together for people to give it an option in their head that they may think about for just a second even. Or when that truck passes you down the highway, you may think, you know what, that might be an LGBTQ person. And just, it's all about giving visibility to these things and showing the diversity that everything is, and all the people that makes up the organization and network. So
okay. Now, I want to ask more of a personal question here. You don't have to answer it, but I think it's probably would be a good answer. I mean, a good question for both you and your partner there. Now, traveling on the road as a couple can be good and bad in a lot of situations, and mainly when you're in a cramped situation like that sleeper quarters thing there. And
right.
gay men are some of the most pickiest men on the planet with the way they like things done, what they want to wear, where they want things at. Is things okay at home with you and your partner?
um we are amazing, believe it or not. When we went into trucking, we've been together for 15 years. And when we went into trucking, we was together for 9 years. We had just got married. We had hit a rough patch in our life. And I actually feel that trucking brought us together and kind of saved our relationship. It brought us even closer together because we have to depend on each other all the time for the safety and security, and one is sleeping in the back while the other one is up front driving. And, I explain it this way a lot because yes, I haul all these loads in that trailer, and that trailer may be loaded behind me, but the most important valuable asset that I have is my husband laying behind me sleeping in the bed. And, I protect him. Now, is there moments that in a relationship, he pushes my buttons and I'd love to collect the insurance money? Yes, there is moments. Your partner pushes your buttons faster than anybody else, and they know exactly how. So, and we both do that to each other. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's actually been an amazing experience for us. Do we argue and fight? Yes. And, just like everybody else. But instead of throwing it away and having a Beyonce mentality and thinking that I can have another you in a minute, we work on our problems that we have with each other. And if we have any problems, we work it out, we talk it out. Maybe not at the moment. We may have to, blow some steam off or whatever. But and if you imagine being in a something smaller than a jail cell, because you're small, it's really, really small quarters. So yeah, you're going to get on each other's nerves. It's going to happen. But I think what helps us most with that literally is we don't mind getting out of the truck. So if we go into Texas, we'll go to Six Flags. If we go to Ohio, we'll go to Kings Island. We go to, we get out and go to the movies. We get out and go to the outlet malls and go shopping. So we take the opportunity that even though we're going across the country, and we do take the time to go out and we'll go to the gay bars, local bar. If there's, a drag show going on, we love to go out and support local LGBTQ organizations or community businesses. And so we try to take time out of the truck. A lot of people don't, though. That's the problem.
I can imagine. I mean, with the both of you being on the road together means that you could probably save a lot of money to buy yourself a house and settle down when you become, when you've had enough of the trucking business.
Right.
Or you could buy a truck and rent it out or something like that. however it works. I mean, because of the end goal, it has to be an end goal for your retirement. I would think for the both of you, you're working so hard on the road and you're doing so much, you're spending so much time together. So this is a you have a movie on your hand there. You don't even know it. You have a movie on your hand. And I just want to say, now I want to talk a little bit about because for me, being on the road as much as I have been, earlier on when we used to drag those bags from city to city to city to city, we used to stop in all these mom and pop shops. Now, what is the experience like for you and your husband? I mean, is there that woman from Mel's Diner that you meet on the road sometimes? Flo from Mel's Diner. I think her name is Flo.
There is. I mean, there is, I just have to, everywhere we go, you meet special people. You just really do. You meet some really interesting people. And believe it or not, like we was at this one truck stop and there was a waitress there and we hadn't stopped there in probably 2.5 years, but she remembered us in that time. She just remembered us because we had good conversation and she had like laughed and talked with us and things, so you meet so many amazing people. And I think that's the gift of it. Some people get so wrapped up in, and I do it in life, just even if you're not a truck driver, you get so wrapped up in things and stay so busy in life. But like, I enjoy taking pictures everywhere I go. I have the most beautiful office window you could ever have. You know what I mean? It's always changing. There's always something going on. It's exciting. It's fun, but it has its bad days too. It's really hard being on the road because I just lost my dad in January. And there's many times that you miss things. I missed the last 2 days because I have to keep the truck productive and we have to keep moving. And I have to pay for things like funerals and stuff when stuff happens. So I missed the last 2 days of my dad's life. I went back out on the road. And I've missed many funerals and I've missed a lot of, weddings and birthdays. So there is a sacrifice that you do by being on the road because you are out 5-6 weeks at a time, sometimes 2 months. It just depends on the company you work for. For us, we run high value pharmaceutical. So by running pharmacy and government loads, it's a higher standard. So you have to stay moving at all times. They want you to drive from point A to point B. So when you pick up, so it changes your way that you have to think and the way you have to drive. So I'm not seeing so much at the truck stops unless our truck is empty or unless we're stopping to get fuel. So we're pretty much, as a team, we run anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 miles a week. And
that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize.
I take my wig off. I say this in every show. I take my wig off to you because you have to be strong to be on the road like that. I couldn't do it. I mean, and not only that, I'm very short, and I mean, I look a lot taller than I am, and I have very little patience for anybody on the road. So I think I would have a problem there. Now let's talk about when all of this is done. Do you guys have a plan for when this truck driving experience thing is done, when you're done on the road? Because eventually one of you will be fed up with being on the road, or you both will be fed up with being on the road.
Well, that would be my husband. He's already fed up with being on the road. He could come home right now. But he likes the money. Simple as that. And so we have multiple houses.
That's a driving force. And we need that money. We need those good jobs today. Things are, lettuce is $7. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, things that you see out there. And then some of my friends, there's some things about drivers that people don't realize. Like, we get into this, I don't know, you make a little bit more money than the average person. So because of that, I'm very fortunate, and I count my blessings, and I know that all of it could be gone tomorrow. But we have a house in Huntington, West Virginia, and then we have a house in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We did have a house in Florida, but we gave that house up because it was too far of a distance from my mom and dad, and it's a lot harder for freight to get in and out of. So, I mean, I am very fortunate to have what I have, and our eventual goal, we do own some property and things that we're going to be investing to do rental properties and things like that. So, everyone has their eventual goal and things. I don't really know if I will ever completely give up trucking. I think that I always want to have my foot in the door, so to speak, because I really think that maybe in time I'd like to be a trainer or at one of the trucking schools. And I've talked to a couple of them about that, because there really is nobody that is a gay trainer at this point that's as open as I am, at least, about things. So I feel that there is a need for that too, because I know that for me, whenever I was going through trucking school, one of my biggest worries is you have to spend like 8 to 10 weeks with a driver trainer. And so when you're going on the road with someone completely a stranger you don't know. And so I was like, I couldn't imagine. I just was like, I don't know if I can do it.
I couldn't do it. Now, let's talk about security on the road for you and your your husband there. Security, do you guys ever feel like you're in danger with truckers think that they're macho and they're butch and all this kind of stuff. And do you ever feel in danger?
There are times, parking lots are really dark. And when you put a bunch of trucks, there may be lights and stuff in the lot, and in the daytime, and you'll be like, oh no, that looks pretty good. But I will tell you that, like, at nighttime, when you get all those trucks in there and they're really in a tight quarter area, and you have to walk between the trucks, there's multiple times that people get run over in the truck lots, and it does happen a lot. And it's just because they can't see you. There's a huge vehicle, and security wise for us is a little bit higher just because of what we haul, with us being pharmaceutical and the high value freight. Most of the times for the first 250 miles, we have escorts, like police escorts or armed escorts. So with us, it's a little different. But there is times, I have thought about it. And especially when we went through COVID, when we had went through COVID and when we had went through when the protests and George Floyd and all the different things that happened, and when drivers were driving out there, and I used to, we went to Minnesota multiple times, and we went through the protests and everything. And my thing about that was my safety was at risk, and I seen these videos on the news and all this stuff of truck drivers that were bombarded in their truck by people, and that was a little scary for me. And I was like, these people wouldn't even know that I'm on their side, because they just see a truck driver and they don't think that they are. They would never even know that I would be out there with a picket sign, you know what I mean, helping them, but here they were beating someone up in their truck. So it raised a huge red flag. And but we are limited by the FMCSA and DOT what we can have in our truck. So depending, if you run all states, you're not really allowed to have a firearm in your truck. You are allowed to have different devices, maybe it be stun guns or whatever you do choose. So we do stay prepared, is what I'll say.
I want to ask a couple of other things, just because, to wrap it up, because I think that you've done a fantastic job. Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Okay, so the podcast for me it's for LGBTQ plus Truck Driver Network, and we call it Big Gay Trucker. And it's really just about being open, honest, visible. I'm always bright colors, and that's just me. I have ripped jeans that I wear, and I get neon sneakers, and that's just me, of who I am. And when I was thinking about the podcast, I was like, I absolutely love Howard Stern, and I absolutely love Anna Nicole Smith and Dr. Ruth, the little old sex lady from back in, and maybe some people don't know who that is. But anyway, if you don't, you need to go
I
look
know
it
who
up.
Dr.
But
Ruth is. I know who Dr.
but
Ruth Westheimer.
that was my vision. That was my vision for the show. We've had talks. We had a sex talk show. One was one of the episodes where we openly talked about our craziest positions, places we've done stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it was just fun. And it's the way life should be every day. And that's what the vision for the show is. It gives visibility to that driver behind the steering wheel. And, it lets you see a peek inside their life of who they are. So we interview drivers, we interview company owners, we interview drag queens and people within, I try to stay up to date on as much of the topics as possible. And we openly talk about them, whether someone agrees or don't agree. And it's okay for you to disagree. I don't want everyone to agree with the things we are saying, because this is what makes us American and this is what makes us different. I don't feel that everyone's opinions do not have to be the same. I want it to be different, and I want you to voice your opinion, because you may change exactly how I look at something. So, that's the point of the show.
That's amazing. I'm from Orlando, but I live in Toronto, right? And I'm going to buy a house in Florida, and I'm going to sit down and do absolutely nothing, but in about 5 years. But now I want to ask you this, because I really think that it's relevant, and she just put up a board there for me to ask this question. Now, has your truck ever been sprayed on, those slang words? And have your truck ever been deviled? Is that what they call it? Deviled or
vandalized?
Yeah, vandalized.
As far as the outside of the truck, so basically the organization that we basically produced 2 years ago, the XBO Pride truck. So we actually I was driving the very first XBO Pride truck, me and my husband, for a while. And we're getting ready to rewrap the truck we have now, because we got a new truck. And it does create some problems driving and being LGBTQ. Sometimes you do get people on the CB radio that say things. And I will say 9 times out of 10, it's just like being on the internet. They're basically keyboard warriors. They'll say something. But I literally have had people, I've met them and shook their hand, and I knew that they had said negative comments about me, but yet they, to my face, was very happy to meet me and smiling and whatever. So now we have had things happen. Yes, we have had things where people have not really so much spray painting the truck or anything like that, but we have had things where people have like brake lines or hoses, people have cut, that type of stuff. Yes, we have had things like that happen before, but thankful enough, we really are not stopped very often. It's very hard to find me because I'm always moving. So, and we move every bit of 1,200 miles a day. So therefore it's really hard to find us or pinpoint where we're at most of the time. But there is some hate that's out there still, and it's always going to be alive. I know this. I wish it wasn't, but there's going to be people that always doesn't agree. But things do happen. We've had a couple things on our truck that's happened. So,
okay.
And we knew that
well, we won't elaborate too much on it. She wanted me to mention that because she felt that it was relevant, because you're part of the LGBT community. Now let's talk just for one. I have just a couple of more questions, and then I'm going to let you go. Now I want to talk about the convoy, the convoys that are happening around the country, like the blockades and all that stuff with
the truckers' convoys.
Yeah. Now you've heard about that, right?
Yeah, and well, there's a lot of different organizations that produce the convoys. So some of the convoys, you have. I'm really not affiliated with any of them, but I have a couple of friends that do the convoys. They've asked me to come and participate. I was very reluctant to do so. And the reason is because, like I told you, I for that time and period, I was driving a gay pride truck with big rainbows on the side of it and everything. So like,
Would have been a target.
Yeah, I didn't feel that I would be that accepted amongst my peers, so to say, or the other drivers. Um, Even though I know that organizations and they all invited me, and even though the people over the organization may be on the bandwagon, because right now, basically for me, I enjoy all the convoys, and I like some of the stuff that they're doing. I just sometimes don't. What happens with the convoys is they get a really bad rap because of a lot of pedestrians and a lot of people with their cars come, and then they come with guns, and they come with it's not really the truckers. The truckers try to very peacefully protest with things, and they do the slow rolls and they do the convoys, and they do it for really good causes. And but what happens is when a lot of other people get involved, they are not so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of gives a bad image to the convoy that's happening.
Okay. Well, on that note, Mr. Bobby Coffee Loy, I want to thank you so much for being here today and being on the show. You are an amazing person, and you're very informed and you're very focused, and I love that. I don't meet too many people like that. And the fact that you started this Truckers Drivers Network and the Big Gay Truck Drivers Podcast, I think that's amazing. I mean, you don't find too many truckers that come out and say, well, I'm gay and I'm proud.
Right.
Most of them, like I said, always try to act like they're butch or on the down low or whatever it is. And the fact that you and your husband are on the road again together, and you're trying to, have this, do something positive for your community, and also show them that we work and live within their communities every day without any dramas or any issues, and meaning that we can work alongside them or work with them and just be ourselves and everybody get along. And this is a good thing. I mean, like you said, not everybody is going to get along because this is life. But as long as you and your husband are on the road again, a lot of other gay men and trans women or the LGBT community that's on the road as well can see there's a positive side to all of this, and that there's a support system such as yours, the podcast, the Big Gay Truckers Podcast, and the network that you set up to try to make people on the road feel like there's a community on the road that they can get information from or have resources, where to get things from, where their community is. And you've done a great job at that. And just from the little time I've talked to you, you're very informed and you're very up to date on a lot of things. And I respect that, because I think that you're doing something amazing that I would never even thought of a trucker being gay or nothing like that. I mean, because sometimes the people in our community, I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but you know what I mean. The ones that try to be butch and all these kinds of things.
Yes.
But I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today, Mr. Bobby Coffee Loy. Am I saying that right?
Yep, you are.
Okay, because I was thinking, if I say coffee, he's going to be like, that's not my name.
Yeah, it's Coffee Loy. So yeah, you're saying it right.
Now, what's your background with that name? Coffee Loy is...
Well, Coffee is my husband and Loy is mine. We took both of our names.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand it. So I just want to say thank you for being on the show today. And I want to say to my audience out there, it was great meeting Bobby Coffee Loy from the Big Gay Truckers Podcast here on my show today. He enlightened us a lot about on the road again, and brought up some old childhood memories about the CD and the horn and all that stuff, which I have great memories of. And the fact that there's this gay couple out on the road delivering amazing things to make sure that we stay connected. And the fact that he's driving this truck now that really symbolizes that the gay community is alive and well and on the road doing wonderful things for many different communities. And I take my wig off to you, Bobby. Congratulations on the podcast. I will be listening. I'm going to start listening. I mean, I would never listen to a trucker's. Now that you told me there's a gay one.
Well, you need to come and be a guest on my podcast. That would be kind of fun. So
reach out to me and I will be more than happy to come on and chat with you. And to you and your lover, your husband, congratulations on making it work on the road. And to many of you out there that wants to be a trucker, listen to Bobby's podcast. Maybe he can give you some hints how to get into the business and how to survive being on the road, because it can be lonely. And I just want to say thank you so much, Bobby. And you have a great day. Take care of yourselves. And thank you so much for being on the show. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Good night.